Good morning, my name is Sonia and I'm going to be your teacher for this course. The course name is Sustainability Interaction Design. This course provides you an understanding of the role of trust in human-computer interaction. It uses a social technical model to help you to better understand the different factors which influence trust in computing. It involves as well the need for studying different theories that are pertinent to the field, and it provides you a set of tools that help you further reflect on how to design better interaction design artifacts that foster the dynamic nature of trust. You may ask, why trust? As you will know, today we suffer from a cultural shift where we have a range of digital artifacts that are transforming our lives, the way we communicate, locate, play, and learn. And it becomes a life with less and less about the devices, but more about the activities that devices enable us to do. So trusting in these devices and the activities that they enable us to do, it's an important issue for sustainability. Trust is a crucial element in human relations. It is important because it assures that interactions will succeed, and it ensures that individuals are predisposed to interact and share. With trust, activities can proceed more smoothly and actions are more decisive, and people work with greater confidence. Trusting also influences the level of commitment and reduces the level of uncertainty, because trusting is a fundamental condition for influencing concerted social actions and participation as well collaboration. Trusting in computing is about leveraging trusting-enabled interactions. In human-computer interaction, trust helps to reduce the risk of uncertainty and related with technology. It also helps create positive and meaningful experiences when using technology. It's also crucial for helping users to adopt certain activities or certain artifacts. Let's talk about trust in computing from a personal perspective. Session we will provide a brief introduction to what is trust in computing. We will also help you to answer questions like what exactly we mean by trust, and help you understand the importance of trust in computing and distinguish between trustworthiness and trust, and also discuss the effects of distrusting in interactions. In a very simple way, we believe that trust contemplates a key component of human interactions. Because it's a social phenomenon and it contemplates as well a complex two-way relationship. This means, if you look at this schema, that trust is a key element of a relationship. A relationship that can be between two agents or more, a truster and a trustee, or a third part. Those agents are constituted of a social context or a social life that is within a community or organization, or it can be provided by a communication medium like Skype, like Google and Galt. Before, trust emerges from interpersonal organization. This means that we might trust a particular individual more than others. Within a specific situation, for example, we might trust a particular work colleague to and share with them more sensitive information like family-related information. The same happens in a specific social context like family, doctor, patient. We are required in this context to trust our family doctor with our health problems, in spite of not knowing him or her personally. Regards with our trust decisions in computing, as trust influences the way we related with these computational artifacts, influences the way we communicate, the way we adopt the artifact, and the way we related with it. As I said before, computing and computational artifacts are much related with the human condition nowadays. As so, trust plays an important role in the dynamic nature of these social technical relationships, as it influences the way we interact with the computer. What exactly do we mean by trust? Trust is affected by someone's willingness to take a risk to trust another person. For example, trust results from a process or a decision that takes into account the risks of trusting someone or something, like a computer. Trust exists within a situation, as I said before, integrates a social status or social lives. So it needs to be represented within a community, organization, or within a communication medium. Trust is a topic that's been studied for many, many years. So trust has many associated emotions and it has a multidisciplinary nature. We believe that trust represents a process of believing that someone or something is capable of doing what is expected. And within that belief, it comes a degree of uncertainty. Some people are more willing to take a risk than others. So, within trust, the risk is a constant in the relationship. By trusting or by taking a decision to trust or not to trust, we are trying to reduce the risk of interaction failure. What exactly we mean by trust? Trust is a result from a dynamic process that evolves through time. And this process takes into account a certain science that helps us to perceive if someone or certain situation is trustworthy or not. The result of these perceptions are based on our willingness to interact or not interact with that person or something. So people's trust predispositions lie much on how we perceive certain situations and how we believe that someone or something, the trustee actions, will in fact fulfill my needs. This leads me to be more committed to the process or less committed. Trust depends much on how we determine the situation, if the situation is in fact trustworthy or not. If we might ask ourselves how to determine if a situation is in fact trustworthy. The answer is by observing. Observing what? The trustworthy signs. What are the trustworthy signs? The trustworthy signs can be attributes that indicates the incentive of something or someone to be involved in certain actions and lead us to believe that someone or something, the trustee actions, will in fact fulfill my needs. This is what underlines people's beliefs. So they are signs of reinsurance, reassuring me that the actions of someone or something will help me to lead to my goal, will help me to understand what will be the other's intended behavior. A trustworthy sign is what supports me in my decision and what leads me to perceive if certain situation is trustworthy or not. So it diminishes the uncertainty of interacting with something or someone, leading me to better identify the trustworthy making qualities of an artifact of someone. Trustworthy signs can also help me understand how committed are the involving parts to the relationship. It helps me identify some individual reactions, intentions, and actual use, and also create reinsurances that certain actions are going to occur as expected. So my ability to read the signs creates me a balance between my predisposition to be committed to something and to take the risk to be involved, and decision not to trust or not to trust. A parameter that is supported by Gambetta when it talks about trust versus distrust asymmetry. Trust and distrust asymmetry is an important issue to create sustainable interactions, as it takes many years to build trust, but seconds to break it. And once you break it, it's very difficult to regain trust. Trust is a very complex and dynamic process, so it's very hard to measure. That's why we see many approaches on how we understand trust and how trust influences different aspects and different contexts and situations. That's why, from the computer perspective, we see two main tendencies. Tendencies from the researchers to see trust very much associated with more technical and operational aspects, like associating trust with privacy and security issues. And we also see another tendency that sees trust in the computing realm as associated with the social and interpersonal relationship, where trust influences very much the way we relate with computers and we communicate with others through the computers. One thing is certain, trust is very much related with the reinsurance mechanisms, or what we call before trust warranty signs. Those mechanisms can be measurable and can be observed. This is observed and measured by observing behaviors. Can be behaviors that come from social relationships, the way we communicate, the way we write messages, or the way we reply to each other's message, or it can be a technical aspect, the way the computer behaves and acts towards our actions. Anyway, the trust insurance mechanisms can diminish our uncertainty of the situation and help us to become more predisposed to trust. As trust is a very complex topic, um, by being able to identify certain trustworthy qualities or reinsurance qualities is not enough to understand if the identified qualities are enough to induce trust. We need to understand if those qualities that we are identified are to be trusted or not. How can we do that? That's why trust is a very dynamic process that evolves through time. It's a cycle process that we constantly reevaluate our situation and our trustworthy qualities. And we constantly ask ourselves, how reliable are those trustworthy making qualities? And this is especially important in omnipresence production, like via production platforms, like Wikipedia, Google Docs, or WordPress, where crowdsourcing or where its content is it's constantly changing. So in sum, as I said before, trust is dynamic. Trusting represents a reinsurance element, as trust results on our perceptions of another or a situation as trustworthy or not. It depends also in our ability to read certain signs, reinsurance signs, signs that indicate me that the level of risks is okay to take, or the benefits of trusting someone or something is higher than not to trust. This is why studying trust from a human-computer interaction perspective or from an interaction design perspective is important, because we are studying design methodologies that can incentivize people to become more engaged, more connected with certain products or artifacts or ecosystems. We can change the behavior or creating interesting attitudes in people, reflecting that that behavior can conduct ourselves and create more interactive relationships. As Basharash and Luhmann describes, trust is the complexity of a game that he or she finds herself playing. Within this game, trust comes associated with a time Asher property, represented by an initial trust moment with trust or not trust, and an ongoing trust moment. Trust can be weakened or strengthened over time. In your assignment 1, we ask you to read this presentation, read or listen this presentation, and also read some articles so you can better grasp your understanding of what is trust in computing. To help you, we also provide 2 examples of a concept map made by your colleagues that reflects their understanding of what is trust in computing. You can use these examples to build up your own understanding. I really hope that this presentation gives you a start to help you understand what is the trust role in computing and in creating sustainable interactions. Also, looking forward for seeing your presentations and your understanding on the topic.